The music of Ponyville by Grass and Clouds 2. Chapter 15. Own the world. Thou shalt taste my justice! Burning sun, entire body blaze, fire and flame shooting off of her and licking the clouds. She ignored them, just as she ignored all other matters of insignificance. The charred grass under her hooves, for example, or the sluggish river 100 feet to her right, or the cowering ponies in the town directly in front of her. As if! Nightmare Moon stood atop the city gates, a thick black cloud streaming forth from her mane and floating high into the sky. Want to try again? I almost felt that one. If thou rejects my mercy, then thou must die! Thundered Burning Sun. She still could not believe the impudence and treason of her sister. The nation was hers by right. She could lead it best, and was the eldest anyway. That her sister wouldn't back down, that her sister had turned into the dark forbidden magics to resist her, was depravity of unimaginable proportions. She needed to be punished, and the harsher, the better. The gates of the town opened up, 24 commoners marching out. Their eyes were completely black, and their steps were far too even for a ragged mob of civilians. Some of Nightmare Moon's brainwashed zombies, then, Burning Sun sneered. Did her sister really think that throwing a few petty ponies in front of her would accomplish anything? Pathetic! We'll see! Hissed Nightmare Moon. Attack! The ponies charged at Burning Sun, who calmly raised a wall of fire to intercept them. The ponies marched into it. Their just desserts for being so weak as to wind up as the corrupt servitors of her depraved sibling. And that would be the end of that tactic. But every spell her sister cast further weakened her. Burning Sun had more magical strength than any rifle, and she knew it. She just had to wear her sister down. Stop! No ponies had charged into Burning Sun's fire, as he frowned and lowered the flames a little, so she could see what was going on beyond the wall. The ponies were standing there, eyes suddenly much clearer, covered by a faint, shaking, but still darkly pleasant glow. Burning Sun's eyes narrowed. That damn golem! Run! Yelled Cadance, materialized from the nearby copse of trees. Nightmare Moon had lashed out at the civilians with tendrils of black magic, but Cadance's shield intercepted and blocked them, though it shuddered several times in doing so. This seemed to jar the ponies out of their stupor, and he took off in a dead run, scurrying over the nearest hill and vanishing from sight. No matter, drawled Nightmare Moon. Plenty more where those came from. Burning Sun frowned as he looked at the golem. Her coat was torn, legs bloodied, her face so totally exhausted. But still she came forward, constantly spoiling the attacks of her and sister alike. That wasn't right or proper. It was, in fact, in its own way, a treason akin to her sister's. A glorified mover of planetary bodies. How dare she interfere like this? For the last time, Golem, I ordered thee to stand aside! No! Kane's voice was weak, but he managed to keep it steady. I won't let you hurt my ponies! If you let me, began Nightmare Moon, hopping off the gate and approaching her sister. I won't let you hurt them. Kane's voice became pleading. Can't you make peace? Give up this feud, I beg you! She lowered her head. You both say you want to become the common pony. Can't you see how much damage you're doing? Hey, guys, am I the only one who remembers Cadance's Canticle? The one that's basically a song of her singing to a war to stop fighting? That's what's playing in my head right now. Regrettable necessity, said Nightmare Moon. My sister is a tyrant, insane beyond control. She must be defeated. To pray treacherous words! Roared Burning Sun. Thou describest thyself! If you must fight, at least fight somewhere else! Bade Cadance. Go to some desert steppe, or some desolate land, or some other place, away from innocents you can hurt! Oh, I love to, said Nightmare Moon. But the moment I did, my sister would take over the country, and burn all that oppose her. I dare not leave for a moment. Should I leave? Thundered the other mayor. My sister will corrupt the nation in hours! I shall not leave her without her head! Cadance bowed her head and said nothing. Now, Golem, said Nightmare Moon, I appreciate a good harness as much as the next man, but really, you're just getting annoying at this point. If you keep interfering, you know what will happen. I know. Now, no pony's saying you didn't try hard, continued the tyrant knight. It's really a remarkable job of helping the common pony. When you stopped that star from smashing into Trottingham, it was truly a heroic act. She grinned in mockery. I think we all agree you've given it your best shot. You can stop now. If you don't, she shrugged, eventually, one of us is going to unmake you. I know, repeated Cadance, and I don't care! She then raised her head again, eyes blazed. I will fight to the death, if need be, to rescue even the smallest pony from my country from your insanity! Ladies and gentlemen, I think this is one of Cadance's best moments! Let's hear it for her! Your country, repeated Nightmare Moon, the words a barely controlled laugh. You're a golem! No more alive than a lever or gear. This is your country. It's mine! No! Roared Burning Sun, flames stretching even higher, breaking the clouds. It is mine! The three alicorns, Cadance standing directly between the other two, stared at each other for a moment. Then, her voice heavy and low, but firm as steel, Cadance began to sing. Your hearts are screaming emptiness. Magic fills the air. Could leave me lying on the floor. Could leave me lying here. Nightmare Moon laughed, soaring high into the air, flipping over the golem. So you've grown a bit in the last 1,000 years, I see. You can even sing now. Well, I know a few verses too. Sister, your end is nigh! And she launched a wave of pure emptiness at Burning Sun. White-coated alicorn barely managed to dodge, the emptiness striking the ground, simply wiping it out of existence to a depth of 30 feet. Meanwhile, Nightmare Moon sang. I creep through the hidden entrances, I stand behind each door. Your blood and sweat and muddy water sinks into the crossing sore. She cackled and stretched out one leg in mockery. Take my hoof, it's my world. See the proof, I'll make it real. Blaze of black emptiness and dark energy swept out from her in all directions. Burning Sun's flames blocked them from touching her. Cadance's fading magic diverted them from the town. The rest eliminated boulders, trees, grass, and earth in an eye blink. Come with me in my world. All of this is my world. Burning Sun's flames reached higher, forming into tendrils. One wrapped around Nightmare Moon's leg and dragged her down with an awkward squawk. She slammed her to the ground hard enough to rent it asunder and bury her feet deep. The sun laughed, a long, mad sound. Sunfire rising higher, it breaks across all lines. Thou stayest to pay, and thou payest all day, because the fire's mine. The flames flared up, and then stopped, bent back, and seemed to fold into her body, which seemed to grow. Cadance could only watch as the tyrant swelled in size, her skin and coat rippling as the fire contracted inside it, until the alicorn was at least 30 feet tall. She extended a hoof the size of a redwood, planting it over the lip of the hole her sister was coming out. Take my hoof, it's my world. See the proof, I'll make it real. She casually tossed a single flick of fire from her mane, hit the ground, exploded, and raised up dirt in a 50-foot spout. Come with me in my world. All of this is my world. Cadance backed up. She felt terrified. She had to rule the nation as well. She thought she had done a good job, but she didn't have near enough power to deal with her creators. Even the very sky itself had been rent asunder. No stars remained, with some having been consumed by the sun, which had grown and now seemed to fill the entire western horizon, and others thrown to the earth by Nightmare Moon. Above Cadance was just a cold, imperious moon, a ravenous sun, and an empty void. Nothing else. The golem had tried to force her not to despair. There wasn't much more she could do to protect her charges. There was nothing whatsoever she could do. If the two stopped fighting each other and attacked her, she would be unmade. Simple as that. She needed to run and hide. She sang softly. The course is moving closer. I can taste the end here now. I feel the heavens shaking with alicorns dropping down. As Nightmare Moon teleported out of the hole, and the two alicorns began to launch powerful attacks at each other once again, Cadance heard a faint sound. Turning, she realized with horror that one of Nightmare Moon's constricted ponies hadn't run away from battle with the rest. She was a young filly, baby Cadance age. One of her forelegs had slipped into a gopher's hole and broken. Her companions had apparently been unable to free her. She was kneeling, crying in pain and fear. She didn't seem to notice Cadance. The alicorn dropped, the sight of one of her subjects in need reminding her of why she was engaged in such a hopeless fight. With a little bit of magic, she eased the leg out of the hole. With another, she dulled the pain. Can you walk? The mare turned to her, sniffing, shaking her head. It's broken. She realized who she was talking to. Princess, run! They'll kill you! Not without you, said Cadance, working out her next move. You're my subject. I won't let monsters hurt you. But Cadance shook her head and held out a hoof to get the injured mare on her back. Take my hoof, it's our world. See the proof and make it real. She smiled softly. Learn to live in our world. All of this is our world. It's our world. She eased the pony on the back. The monarch lives for his subjects. As long as I have any strength left, I won't let the tyrants hurt any pony I can save. Come on! I'm going to get you over this hill and back to your friends. Burning Sun was raining another blast when a beam of light crashed onto the ground in front of her. For a moment she stared blankly. One of my magic alarms, left over from a millennium prior. But where? Who? The only one I set my sister did not make was the one in the old castle. But why would anyone go there? By that point, everything had been moved out of the castle. The only thing any of us brought was... She froze. The elements! But those old trinkets... I thought you could use them, sister, called Nightmare Moon. Burning Sun ignored her sister. The elements were, after all, far more of a threat. It was entirely possible that the golem had simply left them in the old castle after using them against the Alicorn sisters. If some pony was trying to seize them, that might pose a real threat to her imminent reign. They had to be secured. With a blast, she buried her sister under earth. With a mighty flap of her wings, she soared into the air and began flying toward the castle at top speed. She was an alicorn, and nigh omnipotent. It would take mere minutes to reach the elements and kill whoever was trying to steal them. Then she could set a trap, eliminate her sister and the golem, and rule. Equestria would have his proper monarch at last. Idiot! His Nightmare Moon, digging herself out of the impromptu tomb. I'll come up first, tell you nim from nim, and rule. With a flash, she was in the air, pursuing her sister. Behind him, Cadance, having just returned from bringing the injured mare to her friends in the hills, wanted a few mile times to get into the air, but she felt unusually heavy. She realized she was at her limits. If though she struggled, she found herself collapsing into the ground. My makers, she thought, before she fell unconscious from exhaustion. Please, please, let there be something to stop you from hurting anybody else. She felt like it was too much effort to even stay awake anymore, and her eyes slipped shut. The two tyrants were already miles away. Okay, guys, work with me on this, but before I start the next chapter, who wants to get either Britt, Nicole, and Kasumi to sing this song, or B, get some of the fan voice actresses to get together and sing this song? Because it would be awesome. Because I don't think I did this song justice. I don't think I did this whole entire chapter the justice it deserves. This was too good. Chapter 16. Sympathy The battle tyrants! Though the throne room was suffering from a millennium of neglect, though inches of dust coated everything, the room smelled of mildew and mold. Though the great columns were cracked and split asunder, the walls half collapsed, the ceiling dripping water onto the floor, through the holes the size of apple baskets. Through the ancient eyes had completely rotten through. Despite all that, the room had retained its sense of grandeur. Octavia paused as he walked into the room, causing Bluenote to bump and knock her forward. Sorry, said the tubist. Are you okay?
Fine. Just stunned,
managed Octavia. The room was massive. 2 thrones sat in the center of a huge circle. The seats themselves wrapped in gold and silver, and studded with gems so bright they could shine through the dusk and dust. Around the chairs were 10 concentric circles, each larger than the last, where nobles, courtiers, and aides of the princesses would have stood. The surviving columns had carving of each intricate detail that Octavia could make out the main stylings, kitty marks, even freckles on thousands of ponies engaged in war, diplomacy, art, science, and everything else ponies did. The walls of the room were similarly engraved. What a lovely sight, deadpanned Medley. So, where's the magic thingies? There, in front of the thrones! Look! Said Lyra, pointing. Sitting before the 2 seats were 5 large, undistinguished rocks that alone failed to match the splendor of the room. Inscribed on each was a large sigil. For a moment, Octavia's heart quickened, but then she realized the number was wrong.
Lyra, how many elements were there supposed to be again?
6! She paused. Oh.
What? Is one out for cleaning? Medley scowled. Maybe it was broke.
I don't see it,
said Fluttershy, looking around nervously.
Maybe we should try the other 5 anyway?
Why not? Said Vernal as he began to approach. Wonder what will happen if we kick them?
Why then,
please do not kick the most powerful magical artifacts in the world, interjected Octavia hastily. Can't you look at them with your magic? Vernal's horn glowed. They kind of look like big rocks. Not sensing any craft magic, girls.
Great. Do they even work?
Medley looked around.
Well, I hate to say it, but maybe a tactical retreat's the best option.
You cannot stop now, insisted Octavia. Maybe there's something we missed, such as a spell to activate them. We have to find it. At least let's move them, said Vernal. I can't sense them all magically, so maybe if we get them into another room or something, the tyrants won't be able to find them. That could buy us some time. Bluenote trotted over to one of the stones and began to strain to lift it. Oh, pretty heavy. Lyra, can you buff us again? Asked Vernal. If you can, the rest of us could probably get them hidden in like 20 minutes. There was a devastating explosion from the front of the castle. Tremble in awe! Roared a familiar voice. And bow before thy queen! What? We don't have! Finished Octavia. She had barely begun looking for places to hide or flee when the throne room doors burst open again. A burning sun, a towering giant of a pony, charged in. Flames leapt from all over her body, causing Octavia to stumble backwards from the heat. Bow! Roared the tyrant. Bow, and I shall consider sparing thy miserable lives! No way. Octavia turned, and to her amazement, she saw it was Bluenote who had spoken. I'm not afraid of you, said Bluenote. She smiled. I have faith in my friends and myself. We're going to stop you. No doubt about it. Burning Sun reared up on her hind hooves. Fool! Dost thou notice who thou speakest to? Oh, we know, said Lyra. She grinned. But we don't care. We are equestrians. We'll fight for what is right forever! She teared, pointing her toy Lyra at the tyrant like a sword. Octavia froze. She was acutely aware, suddenly, of her own mortality and weakness. She was a musician and had no combat training. Neither she nor the others would survive a direct fight. Burning Sun would simply step on them to end the conflict. The elements didn't work. The team had failed. So why were the others so defiant? And why, she wondered, did she feel such an urge to join them?
We're not abandoning our friends and the country,
said Medley. She was trembling, but didn't back down one step.
That isn't who we are.
Fluttershy took a deep breath. and put her wings around the two nearest ponies, Bluenote and Lyra. But she said,
Even if we have to give up our lives, we'll do it to help other ponies.
The left wall of the room collapsed with a roar as Nightmare Moon burst in. She grinned savagely.
Are you so sure you want to die? Surrender the elements to me, little ponies. Do so, and I will grant you mercy.
Her voice grew lower, seeming to tug at Octavia's ears.
I could consider your actions against me to be born from ignorance and malice,
and you will show no mercy anyway! Octavia realized what she was talking, then understood that she had to be talking, for this was who she was. She wouldn't stand by and allow such a lie to go unchallenged, not while it was there in an effort to manipulate the others.
They're my friends. I understand now that I must offend them.
You showed no mercy to any pony back in Ponyville. There's no point in trying to convince us that we can stand down and work out some peaceful resolution. We know it's not possible. So stop trying to get us to give up, yelled Vernal. No way, no how! You want to fight? She grinned. In every instant of fight and reckless DJ that played in her shows. Then bring it on! The dark-coated alicorn paused and shrugged.
Fine, your lies.
She grinned, showing a lot of tooth. To waste. Burning Sun stomped her hooves and had enough to shake the ground and send the other ponies sprawling. You defy me! Then taste the fire! Taste the nut! Hissed Nightmare Moon. Taste nothingness. Pathetic foes! Octavia forced herself to watch as Burning Sun's horn glowed, and a blast of fire formed and spat at her.
I tried, Cadance. I tried.
The fire vanished a foot from her face. Octavia could only stare in confusion. What? Roared Burning Sun. Sister! Out there! It wasn't me! Cried out Nightmare Moon. Octavia frowned. She sounded scared. It's them. No! Not again! Her voice became a wail. Not again! Octavia turned behind her. Saul was shocked that the 5 rocks were glowing brightly. She watched as they levitated into the air and began to pulse. Then she understood, and she laughed. Did you think you could defeat us? She asked. 6 ponies like us? She gestured to one of the others at random. A pony like Medley, implacably loyal, who fought through an entire village of pony-eating monsters to rescue her friends? One of the rocks flashed and soared over to Medley, cautiously put a hoof to it, then glowed, as if connected to an incredibly strong force. A pony as kind as Lyra Heartstrings, who saw the pain and loss in even the most monstrous of beasts, and fought to heal its wounds. A rock floated over to Lyra, who was likewise energized. A pony like myself who... Her voice caught slightly, but she forced herself to going. Who, despite all my faults, will never let your lies pass by unchallenged. Who was ready to be dashed against the rock for the sake of what I knew to be true. Then a boulder was in front of her. She felt a surge of power and energy, and a strong feeling of friendship. She was staring down the alicorns. She had no idea what was going on, but somehow she knew she would rather be here, defending her friends, than anywhere else in Equestria without them. The words poured out of her. A pony as optimistic and joyous as Bluenote, whose laughter helped defeat a monster built of pure rage. A pony as generous as Fluttershy, who sacrificed everything she ever wanted for the sake of others, not to mention the magic of final scraps. I don't mean spells or cantrips. Any unicorn has those. But the magic of the friendship she has with the 5 of us, that got us this far, past all measure of monsters, and the best chance you 2 could devise is far stronger than anything you could wield. She realized instantly that the 5 of them were glowing, actually floating. Only Vernal remained grounded, staring at the alicorns with defiance and determination on her face. The rest of them were sparkling with pure energy. It matters not, roared Burning Sun. You still lack one element. You have nothing without it. Octavia hesitated, but Vernal took over. Were you listening? We have everything we need. Loyalty, kindness, honesty, laughter, and generosity, and the magic of friendship. A brilliant light swept over her and floated her up to the rest of the ponies. It's not in a rock or in an old throne room. It's within us, and it's something you will never understand. A loud humming filled Octavia's ears. Dimly, she was aware of Burning Sun throwing fire at them, but it seemed to just vanish before it got close. A surge of power swept over her, causing her hose to kick and her coat and mane to stand on end. Then she was back on the ground, with her cello. But she knew, somehow, it was far more than a standard cello now. Oh? Huh? She turned to see Medley, who was standing behind her alicorn harp. The stone frame and strings were glowing. Chisels embedded in them were giving off a pure, powerful light.
All these elements.
Yep, said Lyra, proud of seeing her glowing lyre. I thought they'd be jewelry, mused Bluenote. Her tuba flashed and twinkled. Chisels nearly worked into the base of the instrument, as if it had always been there. Well, hey, in Fallen Equestria, they're all pip-bucks. Final chuckled. She was standing behind her speakers and drum kit, all lit by the same powerful light. Totally smoldery! This is way more awesome! 24 twinkling birds floated over her head and landed in front of Fluttershy, who had a golden conductor's baton in her mouth.
Let's stop them,
she said, her voice unusually firm.
Let's stop them now.
Octavia spun her cello around, taking one moment to admire the power of radiating from every part. Of course! Burning Sun's mouth was open. Impossible! This cannot be! Shut up, you idiot! Cried Nightmare Moon. Kill them! Kill them quickly! Not a chance, said Final, who raised the drumsticks. Elements ready? She clapped them together 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4! And then they began to play. The music was unlike anything Octavia had ever heard. No orchestra could match the power and clarity of their music. Every single note worked together with each other perfectly. A symphony of sound that threatened to break the rock, the very formations of the castle. The work was not drawn from any one particular style. It was a blend of all 6 styles that somehow worked, each instrument and genre supplying just the right notes for a truly harmonious, gorgeous work. Final's drums and speakers provided a steady pulse, constant energy feeding into the music. Lyra's lyre hit the high notes, and Octavia played the low notes, both on strings, forming a powerful, seamless melody that rang across all pitches. Fluttershy's chirping birds provided punctuation and accents at appropriate intervals, sounding off at just the right point to highlight a phrase, melodic line, or a measure of Lyra's, while Bluenote's blasts of tuba did likewise for Octavia. Medley's alicorn harp, sounding as Medley flapped her wings from behind it, danced between the medley of the other 5 instruments, and provided a blanket of sweet sound to fill the cracks that the other instruments couldn't reach. It sounded perfect. Distantly, Octavia heard Burning Sun scream in rage. She saw gouts of fire launch toward her. She saw them fizzle away as they neared. But this was all very far off, almost like it was happening to some other pony. She was performing, wrapped tightly in her music, surrounded by the fantastic musicians. No, my fantastic friends. Nothing the tyrants could try was worth thinking on. There was only the gorgeous music. Final, gritting, slammed her sticks together a few more times to mimic hoof steps. Bluenote blatted a horn-like sound from her tuba in response. The music revved up, strings, bass, and a bird following the percussion. Then, as Burning Sun launched fireballs at him, fireballs which were knocked aside by perfectly timed drum beats, the DJ began to sing. A darkness falls over the land, enslaved says we cannot withstand, and I try to see the light through the disease. I tried to get up on my hooves, been so long working through this mad wood, but somewhere deep inside I know that fate favors the bold. She blasted out a long, stunning web-set solo that sent both alicorns stumbling back to the wall. Before they could rear up her, she whooped, flashed a brilliant grin, and continued. So tonight, though I'm a little pony, I run down an erupting volcano, and I drink from a town that's filled with the laughter of small falls. And indeed, Octavia noted that her drums and speakers sounded like foals, even more so than the themes of Sonata of Morning. as he had written a few days prior. He scampered and bounced, almost seemed to laugh, and the alicorns were powerless before them. Final twirled her drumsticks, adjusted the speaker, and pointed one hoof at the rest of the band. "Take it away, girls!"
You got it.
It was Medley, an angry grin on her face. Nightmare Moon had been trying to sneak some kind of dark magic through the band. She seemed to have a better grasp than the Burning Sun on how the music went together and where the weak spots were. But Medley music was always there to deflect, to shield, and to fight back. Or another thrust of her wings, she played a soft chord and slid perfectly within a gap within Lyra's and Octavia's medleys, presenting a solid wall of sound that the alicorn could not penetrate.
Let's all these do what we can do. When darkness is surrounding your soul and makes you feel alone in the cold.
The Alonian's heart-floating notes were quickly brisk, cold, and unpleasant, but only for a moment. Then that stray verse was wrapped up by the rest of the notes and quaffed beneath the swift, bright, powerful medley that the band was playing. Medley nodded at Fluttershy, who shifted the baton to a wing for a moment, and thus was able to sing.
Find me and grab a hold. This chalice, it overflows.
Bluenote took over singing next, pausing her tuba with a brilliant smile, one that spoke of endless joy, happiness, and friendship, and began to sing.
So tonight, though I'm a little pony, I run down an erupting volcano, and I drink from a chalice filled with the laughter of small foes.
She shut her eyes, grinned, and proceeded to play a long section of her tuba. It was deep, powerful, and full of life, seeming to sparkle with the pleasure that the world could provide. It had a full sensibility, but was shown by that of a master. Oh, the bright love of the world, and one's friends, and the new, wonderful things he saw every day, expertly discussed in musical form. "Lyra!" called Octavia, whipping off a beautiful chord projection that knocked aside the general eventiness Nightmare Moon had launched at them. "This was your idea! You should say something! You got it!" Lyra sprang up on top of the thrones, madly strumming her lyre with one hoof. She cried, "Elements of harmony, blend over the rains, bless our path that tonight we will find the will to break these chains and ride!" And when they were playing a long, wordless section, Octavia could feel the power of the music. She listened as it blasted into the alicorns, systematically wrecking all the defenses and shields they could put up. The tyrants tried to mightily resist. They lost everything they had at the ponies, but nothing had any effect. No illusions could survive Octavia's simple, honest string patterns. No mental attack, no hardening of the heart could make it past Lyra's ever-present lyre melodies. Burning Sun transformed into a 50-foot alicorn and tried to stomp on them. Bluenote's tuba laughed at her. She lost her balance and fell on her flank. Nightmare Moon tried to drain off the power and siphon it to the ground. The others deflected. And when the string players faltered for a moment, Fluttershy's birds chirped with enough volume and strength to keep them going. Beneath them was the constant magical energy of Final's percussion. Energy which was unmatched by any tyrant spell. The alicorns were matched. "Octavia!" Final yelled. "Finish them!" "Yes!" said Octavia. She grinned, launching another set of chords in a gorgeous harmony as he layered on top of Lyra's own melody. Words then formed in her mind, and she sang. "So tonight, though we are little ponies, we'll run down a rotting volcano, and we drink from a chalice filled with the laughter of small foes." Her eyes narrowed as he pointed her bow at the alicorns, as he finished the song with one final verse. "And the blood and tears of our enemies!" Nightmare Moon turned and tried to flee, but the music reached down and grabbed her and dragged her back. "Oh, you run it! You run it now, Nightmare Moon! You realize you're outmatched! You are done! This is over!" The sound wove with all about the sextet, forming into something so beautiful Octavia could not describe it. She could barely keep up with it. But keep up she did, and an avalanche of music struck the two alicorns and blasted them down. The two fell back, both stunned and unable to move. For a moment, it seemed like something else stood between them, a dimly outlying, constantly shifting entity, with no features and form save two green and hateful eyes. But then another wave of sound struck it, and with a cry, it vanished into the air. And when it was over, there were only 6 ponies, their instruments, and 2 unconscious tyrants. Octavia had time to set down her cello before collapsing to exhaustion.
Ugh. That's right for user. That's right for user. Oh, now you see what you did, Fanfic? You caused him to faint from the awesomeness of that song! Ugh, I suppose I should turn this off.